live. They can see us.
All right. Greetings and welcome to City of Destiny, a part of the Untold Stories project. I am your host and game master, Aaron. This is our actual play of the Emerald City Knights adventure series for Mutants and Masterminds, the world's greatest superhero RPG from Green Ronin Publishing. Mutants and Masterminds is a D20-based system that allows players and GMs to create stories featuring all of the greatest heroes of their imagination in a robust system that has enough crunch to be satisfying, but doesn't require a degree in advanced mathematics to figure out if you hit or not. One of the beautiful things about Mutants and Masterminds is the inclusion of hero points. These allow heroes to re-roll a die roll, take an extra action, recover from a dangerous condition, or use a power stunt to use their abilities in creative ways. Heroes will each start with one of these hero points and can gain additional points for good role-playing, funny jokes, clever decisions, or from me using their characters' complications against them, and finally, by your generosity. That's right. If you subscribe or renew a subscription or donate bits to the stream, you will generate a hero point that can be given to the hero of your choice. We are a newer but growing streaming network, and those follows and subscriptions and likes and subscribes, if you're catching the replay on YouTube or are listening to the podcast version of the show, help keep us visible and growing and pay our bills. Now, speaking of our players, let's meet them, shall we? Say hello,
Recording
heroes.
in progress.
Hello, heroes.
Hello.
Oh.
Hi.
Now, normally we are going to start off each episode by me asking our players to introduce themselves, who they're playing, and by answering the question of the day. But since we have not yet met the heroes, we're going to start off this episode with just meeting our players. So, players, please tell us each a bit about yourself, how long you've been gaming, where else on the web we can find you, and please answer our question, which is, and with respect to Homestar Runner and Strongbad, if you had superpowers, would you use them for good, or would you use them for awesome? And Alex, why don't you get us started?
I would love to. Hi, everybody. My name is Alex. I am the executive producer here at the Untold Stories Project, assistant developer on Mutants and Masterminds for Green Ronin Publishing, and the author of the Titan City Chronicles. So I do a lot of things, and I'm glad to see everybody here today and see some new faces on the channel, because this is going to be an awesome show. As for the question of the day, I would probably use my powers for good, because I'm one of those people who doesn't even like upsetting NPCs in video games. Like, I'll back out of a conversation if somebody lowers affection with me in a Dragon Age game. So, I can't imagine I would want to do anything upsetting or super awesome with my newfound powers. But I'll pass it to Wiki.
Oh, hi. I'm Wiki. I've been gaming for like 20 years, and now I feel old. The answer to the question of the day is I would definitely use my powers for awesome. I would probably not be a good guy.
This is fair.
I mean, who am I passing to?
Your choice.
Howard.
Hey, I'm Howard. I've been gaming more than pretty much anyone else here has been alive, I think. 45 years.
I think you've just got me, yeah.
And I met Aaron when he was like 13,
Yep.
playing a superhero game.
Yes, one that does require a degree in advanced mathematics.
Champions.
Champions. And I suppose if I had superpowers, I would use them for good. And let's go to Brandon.
My name's Brandon. I am an English teacher, which takes up most of my life from fall to spring. I'm also a dad of 2 wonderful kids. And I think if I had superpowers, I would absolutely use them for awesome. But awesome doesn't mean evil. The Doctor is awesome.
Sure.
I would just be interesting.
Sorry. Well, I
Go ahead.
Last and definitely least,
No.
No.
I'm Aunt Puppy. The name stems from my niece didn't know how to pronounce my name, so that's just kind of become my nickname. And she thinks it's hilarious to call me Aunt Puppy still, even though she does know how to pronounce my name. I've only ever done one live D&D, so I guess like I'm popping my cherry here. So not really a whole lot of experience. I am on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, Mrs. Aunt Puppy. So pretty easy to find me. I would definitely use my powers for awesome, and they would mostly be for personal gain. 100% personal gain. Sitting in traffic every day makes me realize why Magneto always used his powers for bad.
Right?
Yeah. Like there's
Daily
a lot
traffic
of
is-
car crashing.
Sorry. Daily traffic is why I don't carry a gun.
Yeah. No, my daughters have repeatedly heard me say while driving, it is a good thing I do not have superpowers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess just to answer my own personal part of the question of the day, you can find me here. You can find me as the host of our podcasts when they return. And I've been gaming since I was about 9 years old, so a little bit before Howard met me. And I would like to think that I'd use my powers for good, but I know better. So thank you all for answering our question of the day. And let's go ahead and begin. Emerald City, the city of destiny, the city on the red and white rivers, the city of the three hills. Call it what you want. It is a thriving metropolis located in Washington state, slightly to the north of Seattle, but right along the coastline. The nickname for the city started as an affectation and was originally coined because once you got to Emerald City, you were at the edge of the continent. So that's where your destiny was, since you weren't going any farther. But since that time, Emerald has become a generally pleasant city and place to live, in no small part because of the number of colleges and universities that are located within the city, and because of the numerous high-tech firms that exist within the city, making it a bit of a tech mecca. These companies include Mars Tech, Kescorp, and Redshift Energies. Most significantly, Emerald has generally been pleasant to live in because of the lack of superhuman activity. There's been some, of course, and world-shaking events like the Terminus invasion have reverberated here, but for the most part, no major supervillains are known to operate out of Emerald, and there aren't any costumed hero teams like you see running around in Freedom City, where the Freedom League and Next Gen both reside, and also the Atom family. Now, there are urban legends about the Mongrel and some sort of man in a mechanical suit with 8 arms that persist, but sightings of those two figures are mostly kept to the Ghost Sightings blog. Bigger superheroes have passed through on a case or two from time to time, most notably and recently Overdrive, who is now affiliated with the Freedom League. But for the most part, you don't see a lot of costume figures dotting the skies of Emerald City. There's also a thriving tourism market in Emerald, which leans in heavily on the connection to a certain novel by L. Frank Baum that has been adapted into a movie or 3 and several major Broadway musicals. A lot of folks in Emerald City shy away from the connection, and jokes about munchkins or going over the rainbow fall very flat. There are others who have leaned in heavily to that name, which has led to the city's most popular shopping destination, the Yellow Brick Row. No groans? Really? None?
Oh,
Hey,
That's
I
not
love
even
a
the
good
worst
pun.
I've heard this week.
So it is on Yellow Brick Row on one particularly pleasant Saturday afternoon in early October that we will zoom into our action. The streets are bustling with people. It seems like everybody in Emerald City has ventured out today to enjoy this pleasant early fall day. There are people rollerblading on the sidewalks, out walking their dogs, shopping, or just sitting at a sidewalk cafe and people watching. Moving into one of those sidewalk cafes, we see a older gentleman. He looks like he could be in his late 70s or early 80s. He's there with a young woman who appears to be in her late teens or early 20s. And there is enough of a family resemblance to realize that these two are related. They're seated and waiting for their noodles to arrive, sipping on cups of tea. The woman looks over to the man and says, "So, Grandpa, I was thinking about trying to beef up my portfolio and maybe apply to transfer from ECU to Arcadia College. What do you think?" she says. "Howard, why don't you tell us who she's talking to?"
She's talking to her grandfather, Marshall Carstairs. He is no longer tall. He's been shrinking. He's 83 years old with a bald top and the gray friar ring. Looks kind of like Eli Wallach, the picture we've used. And he looks there, he says, "You know, dear," he goes, you can do pretty much anything you set your mind to. I have no doubt you will flourish and be fantastic. I love your artwork."
That's. I'm just. I don't know. I'm nervous. I mean, what's Mom gonna say? And she's so heavy on that. Make sure you get a degree that's something marketable.
Are you going for you said digital artwork, right?
I mean, maybe. I haven't really decided, but I guess I could.
Well, there's always a market. I have no doubt you can. It's your mother. She worries about everybody. I'm surprised she hasn't come out to make sure I haven't keeled over dead yet.
You know that if we don't go back for Thanksgiving, she is going to come out here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's still calling me every day too.
So we're going to leave these two here for a moment to enjoy their lunch. And we're going to cut away to where we see a city bus. There's a young man on this bus. He's a slight, slender fellow. He's got a bit of a pensive look on his face, and he's holding the small metal statue of a bird. Alex, you want to talk to us about who this young man is?
I would love to. This is Ethan Blackwell, who is a very slight young teenage man, currently wearing a red hoodie and a jeans, red Converse, and he's listening to a Zune, to some lo-fi study music. The Zune, being quite old, has a portable power pack that it's constantly plugged into because he refuses to get an iPod. And Ethan's sort of sitting with the earbuds in, looking down. The sculpture he's got is something that he's been working on. It's an homage to sort of how he's feeling in life right now, is what he keeps telling himself. And he really, really wanted to show it to his professor up at Mallory College that he attends as a chemical engineer major. He just had a very difficult conversation with his father about maybe changing majors to follow his passions as an art student. And his dad didn't like that. He wants me to be a pawn in his plans for the city.
Yeah. I was gonna say your father immediately said, you should be applying for that internship at Mars Tech, like your friend, what's his name, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy's a genius, Dad. Just because he's good at something doesn't mean that I want to follow that.
So yeah, Ethan's got some things on his mind as he's sitting there on the bus. We're gonna move away from the metro section of Emerald City now, and go over towards the campus of Emerald City University. As we go inside Emerald City University, we're going to go to the main campus library, where there is a young woman She's a student at the college, and she's currently trying to get into one of the restricted sections of the library, specifically an area dedicated to genealogy and ancestry. Of course, she has no actual justification for getting into that section. So, Aunt Puppy, who is this woman and what is she trying to do exactly?
So this is Cynthia O'Hara. She goes by Cindy. She is currently majoring in history, specifically art history. So going into genealogy and all of that area really is outside of her scope of her major. But she is trying to find her birth family. She was adopted right at birth, essentially, with a gift that she does not quite understand. Her birth parents, or her adopted parents, kind of told her about it and gave very, very vague information about her parents. But with some research, she found out that Emerald City is the last known location of who could possibly be her birth parents. So while she's here, she was hoping that while going to school, it would look less conspicuous when she took a deeper dive into the restricted areas. But she failed to pay very much attention to the degree she picked.
Whoops.
Story of her life.
So she's basically hanging near the door, kind of trying to do the thing of timing your entrance to walk in just as someone else is using their card to pass in, so you can just be like, oh, just let me in, and that way I don't have to pull out my ID card. And
pretending to rifle through my bag like I can't find my badge, and kind of hoping to find it, and just hoping somebody leaves or is going in at the same time. And so far I just get dirty looks from the librarian.
Okay. Going outside of the library, we see the quad of the campus. Out on this quad, students are taking advantage of the beautiful fall day. They're playing frisbee. Some of the co-eds are trying to get one last day where they can lay out and get a tan. It's not quite warm enough for that, but we've all seen college girls who had not enough sense to care about that. And there is a young man who is passing out flyers. Brandon, who is this man and what are these flyers?
This is Peter Washington. He's in his early 20s. Looks probably like he could be a senior or so, but he's not actually a student there. And he is passing out flyers for the nonprofit he works for, called Crossroads, which is about just generally helping people who are struggling. So in this instance, he's letting folks know about a support group for students who may be struggling with grades, substance abuse. Maybe it's their first year and their mental health, any of those kind of things, that there is a support group and a support system available for them.
Okay. And you're getting some interest, but for the most part, students have other things on their minds. And
he's also sure he's got sunglasses on to kind of, even though it's the Pacific Northwest in fall, because he's at least somewhat worried about maybe being too recognizable.
Okay. It is also a beautiful sunny day, even in the Pacific Northwest in the fall. So, sunglasses are not totally out of place here.
It's not like we're in Forks.
And finally, we're zipping away from the campus out over to the docks, and we see a bay of storage units. The camera moves past these storage units and then does the thing where it goes through a wall, cutting into inside of them. And inside one of these units, there seems to have been a portable lab set up. This lab has a number of different workbenches and tables, and oddly enough, numerous large tanks of water. Hanging down from the ceiling, we see a mechanical suit with a variety of different appendages. Reaching across from one of the tanks to a nearby workbench, we see a orange and white suckered tentacle that reaches out, lifts a soldering iron, brings it over to a different table where the head of an octopus peers out of a tank at a circuit board. Wiki, would you like to tell us a little bit about this octopus and what he's doing?
This octopus is Dr. Cephalopod. Or, I'm sorry, it's Professor Cephalopod.
Yes.
The octopus's name is Dr. Cyrus Dylan, and he is a very large, giant Pacific octopus. He is currently working on his tank suit, which is, as described, a giant mech suit with no legs and a whole lot of arms. And he looks agitated, and one of his arms moves independently of the others, picks up a very large conch shell from inside the tank and puts it on its head.
Okay. So, having at least briefly seen all of our cast of characters, we're going to return back over to Yellow Brick Row, where Marshall is still enjoying his lunch with his granddaughter, Lisa. Marshall, at this point, your food has arrived, and the two of you are eating. You notice a truck drives past, labeled Redshift Energies. You're familiar with this company. They're a green energy company that has been doing some very promising work. In fact, one of the engineers who helped design their latest hybrid automobile was, at one point, was a junior colleague of yours. So, I don't know if you would stop to comment on it or remark on it to Lisa or not, or if you just kind of look at it and go, oh,
I
cool.
will take notice of it, but not. I would rather let her work out, still continue working out her decision whether or not to transfer and how to deal with her mother.
Okay.
Who means well to Lisa and to me, but God, she's fidgety and overprotective and just. There's a reason I moved across the country with my granddaughter.
Ethan, your bus is stopped and is, letting somebody off when that same truck passes you and comes to a stop at the red light in front of you. Not 15 feet away from where your bus sits, the truck suddenly explodes. The loud, heart-stopping sounds of an explosion and shattering glass, along with the accompanying shockwaves, strikes you without any warning. Ethan, your bus is overturned and flipped onto its roof. Don't worry about making a toughness save or anything. You're fine, just cosmetic damage.
I'm a bystander. My toughness is 0.
Yeah, but even with the toughness 0, you can roll an at 20.
Hey, that's a higher toughness than mine right
now. There is a, like I said, there is glass that just shatters in probably several block radius. Marshall, over at the cafe that you and Lisa are sitting at, the shockwave reaches you, knocking you flat on the ground, kicking you right out of the chairs that you were sitting in.
I will grab her and basically pull her to me and under me.
Okay.
If I can.
Sure. Marshall and Ethan, can both of you go ahead and give me a perception check?
First roll of the series.
First roll of the series.
I have to find my character sheet. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
For all the folks at home, we are using the new Mutants and Masterminds character sheet.
It's so pretty.
It's very fancy, and I like it a lot.
I have doomed us. I've rolled a 13 on our first roll of the series.
All right, next campaign.
I rolled a 12.
Okay. Well, fortunately, what I was wanting you to notice is not terribly difficult to notice, or what I was trying to see if you noticed. From the truck in the center of that explosion, a large, strange cloud of silvery mist starts to expand out very, very quickly, covering several blocks of area, like really everything in your immediate eyesight. And then before people are even able to, before fight or flight kicks in and still in that moment of stunned panic, the cloud begins to swirl without any prompting from the wind. It whips into a cyclonic mass, discharging what appear to be bolts of bluish lightning, both within itself and outward in its immediate vicinity. From your positions, you both see these bolts flying out, striking vehicles, buildings, and people. There are screams filling the air, the sounds of explosions as gas tanks ignite, the smell of ozone and burning fuel, and the screech of tires and brakes as cars go out of control, either because the drivers were incapacitated or simply because they're trying to avoid the debris or other stopped cars or have been struck by one of these bolts of lightning. Marshall, you have Lisa just underneath you. You look up and see that hurtling out of control from the road right onto the sidewalk and crashing through the little barrier around where you're sitting, there is a very large SUV. What do you do?
Uncharacteristically, damn it! And I'm just basically going to shove her as far in front of me as I can. Maybe I can be a road bump to slow it down.
Okay.
You said we're both flat on the ground, so I can't really grab her and start running.
Not easily, no.
So I'm basically just maybe getting to my knees, but just trying to shove her as far ahead of me as I can, probably coming to my knees.
Okay. As you do this,
go baby, go.
Lisa, you shove her a few feet in front of you. She staggers, partially to her feet with just a look of horror and terror on her face as she realizes what's about to happen. The SUV slams into your back and crumples like it was made of aluminum foil. You don't feel a thing.
What? But I see it on both sides.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and you heard it.
Speaking of forks.
I'm just gonna turn around and look.
Yeah, you see the ruined remains of a Nissan Pathfinder. That
specific.
Huh?
So that's oddly specific.
Yeah, but it's the Pacific Northwest. Shouldn't it be a Subaru?
Yeah.
There you go.
In any case, the driver is slumped over. The airbag has been deployed, and you're about a foot into its engine block, but there's not a scratch on you.
They don't make them like they used to.
They don't. I'm trying to compute, and my mind's not.
Broken.
Until I see Lisa, I'm like, go, get out of here, go!
And Lisa's just looking at you with a look of just stunned. She's trying to figure out. Strangely, not a lot of other people seem to have noticed because, well, there are people running and screaming and panicking. But Lisa has definitely seen this, and she's just, she expected to just see her grandfather be destroyed by flattened from a SUV, and yeah. while you and Lisa both try to figure out what you're doing, Ethan.
Mom, I have a concussion.
People are starting to try to crawl out of the bus because the glass from the windows has been completely shattered, so you can easily crawl out of it if you're so inclined to do so.
Yeah, Ethan will roll his backpack over and use that to crawl across the glass without getting cut up too bad.
Good plan. Good plan.
And kind of stagger to his feet against the wreckage of the bus and look around, see if anybody looks like they're trapped or needs help.
Okay. So in your immediate vicinity, you do see that when your bus crashed into or got knocked off by that from being blown up, flipped over. There is a car right by you that has crashed into a light post, and the engine block, or not the engine block, but the gas tank has caught fire. The driver appears to be stuck inside the vehicle, and you see a car seat in the back seat. The driver, who is a man in his mid-30s, is frantically trying to open his door, and looking back to where the fire is starting to grow, and looking back to the car seat, and getting just a look of panic on his face.
Yeah, I'm going to reach into my backpack and pull out my welding mask, and I'm going to run over and try to break the window so I can get the baby out.
Okay. So you reach into your backpack, you pull out your welding mask, stick it on for protection.
I was going to use it to break the window.
Oh, okay.
You need a small piercing device for that.
I don't know how to break a window. I'm 22.
Yeah, it's a small. You have to have like a small piercing device to break the window. So your helmet's useless unless you use the corner.
So you run over to where the baby is, start hammering on the window. It must be reinforced because your welding mask is having no effect on being smashed against the edge of this window.
You break a window once.
And as you just kind of, you grab the handle of the door to try to pull it, and it comes off and goes flying away from the car before your hand even touches it.
I think I read about adrenaline in my psychology class. That's probably what this is. And I'm gonna grab the baby out of the car seat.
Okay.
Can you grab the baby gently? Like,
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna gingerly grab the baby, and then as a test, I'll sort of feel out to the driver's side door and try and yank it open too.
So yeah, it's weird because it's almost like you've got a new sense. There's an overlay where you can see where the steel is used to reinforce the frame of this. And as you're kind of noticing that, the door starts to peel itself open along where where those steel reinforcement areas are.
I'll look at my hand and I'll say, "Sir, you need to get out of the car. I think I'm a Jedi." And run off with the baby cradled against me.
You don't give him back the baby?
He'll join. He'll come get me. He'll come join me.
Oh, no, of course he keeps the baby. He's a Jedi, and this is the child.
Right. The child is force sensitive. You're kidnapping him. I get it.
Wait, the baby might be a Jedi.
You didn't tell us the truck was full of midichlorians.
I'll put on my mask. This is the way.
Oh,
God.
We're all going to lose a 0 point for that one.
Yeah, I think you're losing a hero point for that one.
People are like, can I take one away? Is there a way to take it away?
You can, actually. But I wouldn't. back over to the campus. Cindy, while you are, still trying to find an excuse to get into the restricted section of that library, there is a student who walks past you and is looking at their phone and just kind of doing the, oh my God, oh my, and they look at you and says, have you seen this? There's something terrible happening over at Yellow Brick Row. And they show you a live news feed that says, there has been an explosion at Yellow Brick Row. There are initial reports of many casualties, and emergency crews are having trouble getting into the site because the traffic was so crowded that when this happened, cars are stopped and traffic is blocked. And what do you want to do?
So I kind of played off like I'm just like, oh no, like that's terrible. Like, what are we gonna do? While secretly looking for a place where I can change into my suit and costume, which I don't have a way of doing like a quick costume change here, but she changes kind of her whole appearance to keep herself camouflaged. So she finds kind of obviously no one's really staying in the library after they hear a giant explosion and, the world is ending right now. So she kind of finds a place behind a bookcase where she can change into her blue suit with her blue hair, and she leaves her bag kind of in a nook that she can come back to, makes note of where it is so that she can come back and grab it.
The drop ceiling.
Gotta keep it
The
in.
invention of cell phones and the proliferation of them set back superhero kind so far.
Yep.
You just can never find a phone booth anymore.
Nope. No phone booth. Just had to awkwardly change behind a bookcase. So just make some weird noises and people just think it's a couple. So
Been there before.
But
Broken
as
up
soon
before.
as I change into my suit, I scan the room and try and see if I can find a quick exit to where nobody really recognizes or notices me, and I run up to the surface to find out how I can help.
Okay. Well, so this is, like I said, over at Yellow Brick Row. You are on campus, so you have a little bit of a ways you'll have to travel.
Yeah, I have to fly.
Right.
Ice fly.
Yep. Okay. Peter, similar things happen to you. You suddenly notice that people are all looking at their phones and are doing the, oh God, have you seen this? And people are pulling out their own smartphones and sharing it with their neighbors and whatnot.
Is Yellow Brick Row far enough away that I can't, if I look, can I see the smoke like rising from car fires and stuff?
It is far enough away that you cannot see the smoke, at least not yet.
Okay. I'm kind of new to the city. Do I know where Yellow Brick Row is?
Absolutely.
Right.
It's a major tourist attraction. It is the center of the shopping district.
Okay. Then I'm just not even going to bother to change. I just open up a portal right next to me. I run through it. I'm just putting them as far as I can see to move as quickly as I can to the source of danger.
Okay.
And kind of and absentmindedly leave the pamphlets on the ground. Oops.
And while flying there with my ice powers, I notice him below me doing that and kind of take a moment to look at it, but I'm too focused on getting there that I don't really pay 100% attention to it.
Okay. So yeah, I kind of love the idea of you're basically doing the City of Heroes teleport thing of open a portal and.
Yep. I contemplated opening the portal up so I can get a better view, but.
Surprised you didn't. All right, and finally, Cyrus, you have a radio on in your lab, and your pleasant classical music is interrupted to talk about this disaster that has occurred in the shopping district.
That's not good. So
Seems like how an octopus would feel.
I would just throw the soldering iron back in the general direction of the table that it came from, and up out of the tank, onto the ground, and octopus walk to the underside of the suit, the mech suit.
Uh-huh.
Two of the arms reach up in toward a very small hole. It's about, I don't know, it's a few millimeters larger than one of my eyeballs. And then I just up into the suit and engage. And I start floating toward the door.
Okay.
How big was the shell? Is it still on your head? Did it fit through the hole?
Oh no, the shell would have fallen off.
Shucks.
It's not going to fit through that hole. It's way too small.
Yep.
I have a question. You said well, Wiki, you said Professor Cephalopod is a large octopus. How large? Man-sized or bigger?
Bigger. He's a giant Pacific octopus and is also abnormally large for his type. So he's about, his mantle itself is probably half a person. So if you stretch him out, he's probably 15, 20 feet.
Oh my god.
Okay.
He's a big octopus.
Okay, just wanted to be clear.
I'm sorry if I think you're a supervillain when you arrive.
Fair. It's fair. Here comes Cthulhu.
Uh-huh. All right, cutting back
there.
over to
I knew H.P. Lovecraft.
cutting back over to Yellow Brick Row. Marshall, what are you and Lisa doing at this point? Now that you're
I
both
can see the chaos going on outside. I'm
you
like,
can see
well,
chaos going on. Like I said, you're adjusting to the fact that you didn't seem to be hurt. You also feel suddenly almost like you're 20 years younger. Like things just aren't hurting the way that they used to, and you've got, like you get up from the ground and there isn't that snap, crackle, pop that you've got,
did my walker survive?
It's
Bent.
yeah.
Well, I'll grab it. I'm like, I look at Lisa. I'm like, fine, help her and him and get out the back door and get away from here. I'm gonna see what's going on and if I can help.
Okay.
And I'll be coming along.
All right. Lisa will do that, although she looks at you and there's definitely we're gonna have to talk look on her face, but she does what you tell her to and says, right. And she grabs the waiter who was near you and one of the other patrons and helps them to their feet, and tries to get them away from the, at least from this part of the carnage. It kind of seems to be, like I said, everything in your immediate eyesight, you see signs of just chaos.
Is there still swirling mist and?
So the mist has dissipated, but the after effects are still very much an issue.
Okay.
There's still fires and wrecks and.
Well, I will shamble towards the front, watching as I'm going, trying to keep some part of the building, the frame of the doorway, because I'm assuming the bay window or the front window got shattered. So walk sideways so I can actually have part of the window frame as cover as I'm looking out.
Okay.
I just want to see what's going on and if I'm going to be able to do something.
I mean, there are definitely people trapped.
People running. Are there people trapped?
There are people trapped in vehicles. There are people running. There are some people who are just writhing on the ground in pain. They don't seem to be. There doesn't even seem to be anything necessarily wrong. They're just on the ground screaming or clawing at themselves or.
I'm gonna pick up, if there's one on the floor within reach, oh man, I have to bend. I'd really like a sharp knife. Like if I have to
Sure.
cut somebody's
He's what?
seatbelt off of them. Pardon?
That's somebody's what?
I don't know, but it was up there at the throat area.
Yeah.
In case
No,
I
if I have
need
to
to cut
cut a
somebody.
seatbelt.
End of sentence.
So actually that will take me a minute because I'll find one and then I'm like leaning on my, have to shuffle my feet back and lean against my walker so I can bend down. And I'm expecting it to hurt and take longer than it does,
Yep. But it doesn't.
which is very odd. And I can't focus on this right now
Fair.
because that makes me want to sit down into a corner and start taking biometric readings. And I can't focus on that right now. I have to see if I can help anybody.
Yep. Now is not the time for that. Ethan,
Yeah.
what are you doing now that you think you're a Jedi?
Hey man, here's your
Also,
baby
still
back.
carrying a bababy.
Hey man, come get your baby. I'm gonna go see if I can help somebody else. Are you good to walk? I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder.
He's a little shell shocked and a little stunned, but he is more focused on his child than he is on anything else. So if you hand him the child back, he is going to make his way off the street and duck into one of the nearby buildings.
Hey, don't tell anybody you saw that, okay?
Sure.
And in the spirit of that, I will put on my welding mask and I'll pull the hood up on my hoodie.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go be a big damn hero. I'm gonna go find some people to help. I'll sort of reach down, touch the ground, and try and sense out through my metallic force, and feel for pockets of weird people who are trapped or things that maybe have not been knocked askew, something like that.
Sure, yeah. So like I said, there is no shortage of vehicles on the street. Like I said, the traffic was heavy. So with cars crashing, it's almost gridlock of vehicles and whatnot. At least in the vicinity that you are currently in. You are aware, you heard the sound just from a few blocks to the south of, or not even a few blocks, about a block to the south of you, where there was a car that seemed to hit or an SUV that hit into a sidewalk cafe.
All right, I'm going to go that direction, and I'm going to say, well, do or do not, there is no try. And I'm going to reach out and try and move the car out of the building.
Okay. So Marshall, as you are making your way out of the restaurant with your knife, you see the SUV that hit you just start to pull back away from where.
Do I even see it?
Huh?
Or do I see it, or does it just bump me from behind?
Oh, he's pulling it away from the cafe, so.
Well, if he's pulling it out the window and away from the cafe, that's where I am too. Does it hit me from behind?
No.
Okay.
That would be funny, but because I'm assuming you had moved away a little bit of a distance so that you could find the knife and.
Yep. Actually, I would probably hear the noise even if I didn't see it.
Yep.
What the?
Yeah, I'll pull it out, spin it around, and if I can, I'll focus and use the precise on my move object to unclick the seatbelt and see if I can pull the guy out.
So you can definitely unclick the seatbelt and force the door open. There doesn't seem to be anything to lift your senses don't seem to incorporate around where the person is themselves.
Yeah, I don't know that that's what's happening, so I'm just trying. I'm like, okay, now flesh. Accio person, trying to get him to come out, waving my fingers at him.
So I see the vehicle spin and the door fly open.
Uh-huh.
I'll go over to help the guy.
Okay.
Go over to help the driver.
Hey, old dude, get out of here. It's dangerous. I mean, citizen.
Help some of these people.
Senior citizen.
That's why I chose not to take that as my name.
Senior citizen.
Oh, that would have been a
Yes.
good superhero
I thought about
name.
being citizen, but
Mm.
my head would explode the first time somebody called me senior citizen.
I am
Like-
senior citizen.
I'm like, do what you kids do best. Get on your phone and call 911.
You're right. I didn't think to do that, man. Good job. And I'm just gonna put a thumbs up and go look and find somebody to go help.
Okay.
Somebody who's not old, like a mummy.
Peter, you're going to arrive on the scene faster than Keone or Professor Cephalopod are.
And so I think what I'm going to do is, as soon as I get close enough to see smoke or debris or something like that, I'm going to stop, open a portal in front of me, and the other end of the portal is going to be up in the sky over, so I can get a view of what's going on.
Okay. I like it. Do you
Don't fall
have?
out of it.
Have you purchased remote sensing as one of the alternate effects in your power?
We decided that I didn't need to because seeing and hearing and all that could go both ways.
Fair, right? Okay. All right. So you've got a portal in front of you that is looking, a bird's eye view down, and yeah, you can see just massive property damage. It looks like buildings were struck by some sort of energy discharge. There's masonry knocked out of buildings. There are fires that are burning. The car wreckage is just horrible. It gets a little bit better on the outskirts, but there's clearly an epicenter where traffic just came to a screeching halt and numerous cars just started to pound into each other. Give me a perception check.
Also, Aaron, Mr. Ketchin name? Just followed. So thank you so much for spending some time with us. You do have a free hero point that you can give to the hero of your choice. Just share it in the chat.
You do. Thank you.
Oh, not bad there. I hope I see something.
What'd you get?
17?
17? That is enough that you do notice that there are emergency vehicle sirens and lights that are coming in this direction. They seem to be having trouble getting through. You also see a young man in a red hoodie with a welding mask who seems to be gesturing, and an SUV is moving.
All right, so that's obviously the bad guy causing the problems.
Uh-huh.
So I am going to go through I'm going to do a little bit of an acrobatic move here. Where I'm going to go through the portal and then open up another portal so that, right after I'm falling, that then puts me down on the ground that I can kind of tumble out. So I'm going through two portals.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to be like,
Marshall, you will also see this rip in space appear as this young man tumbles out of it.
What you get for dressing like a Sith.
Oh,
So
That's what I had handy.
I'm going to open up a portal underneath him that he's going to fall through. The portal that comes out is going to be vertical, though, so he kind of lands on the ground.
Okay. I'm not going to ask for initiative because we're not really into a fight yet, but
it would be a dexterity or a dodge save, I think.
Yep, it is a dodge save.
DC 19.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Crucible, not Crucible, Ethan, why don't you give me a DC 19 dodge save?
I would be delighted to. I pushed the button, and I rolled a 9 on my dodge save. But I'm not going to spend a hero point because it feels right.
It does feel right. So, Peter, where do you put this man in the welding hood.
I gonna. You said there were emergency vehicles. Are police among them?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely police vehicles. Yeah.
He's gonna put
I'm gonna put him on his
car.
behind, right next to a cop car.
Should put him in the cop car.
That's a great idea. I'm probably not clever enough yet to do because it's.
Say, also, don't you still have to see where you're opening the portal?
Yeah, and I think I couldn't quite. Also, it can't touch things, so I
Right.
don't think I could get precise enough to get him inside it quite.
Yep.
But yeah, he'll be on his behind next to a cop car.
All right. So, yeah, that happens with Ethan, Peter. Marshall, like I said, you witness all of this. Make of it what you will.
Oh, should they make some kind of, I don't know, history or culture, current events roll for when I come in?
Yeah. So if you've got expertise, pop culture or history,
Nope.
or superheroes or supervillains,
Nope.
I will let you roll that. Otherwise, just give me an intelligence check.
Right. I've only got art and science are my expertises.
I have history.
I got a 12 on my flat intellect check.
Okay.
What did I get? I gotta jump over.
So the newbie has a question.
I
Okay.
got a 19.
All right. Let me answer Aunt Puppy's question, and then I will
Answer Aunt Puppy's question.
So I have history, and it says that my rank is 3.
Uh-huh.
What does that mean? What
So-
do I do?
If I ask you to roll expertise history, which will certainly happen at some point, you will click on the little
The little
star
die.
where the number is.
Yeah.
It will roll a d20 and add that number to it.
Wait,
And
hold
if
on.
you-
Go back. Go back one step.
Okay.
If we were at a tabletop, you would roll a 20-sided die and add that 3, which is how many
Okay.
ranks you have, to
That's
the
what I-
20.
Okay, that's what I
clicking-
wasn't sure was what die I use.
Yep. It's
Right.
always a 20. But by clicking on the number at the skill, roll 20 will do it for you and tell you what the total is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you just clicked on it, and you've got a total of a 7. If you mouse over the total, it will show you that it was a 1d20 plus 4, it rolled a 3 on the virtual d20.
That was as bad as Alex.
So, yep.
I rolled a natural 1 on my
we're not
dodge
there
save.
You're not there yet, so I'm not actually asking you for the history check yet.
Okay.
However, Marshall, with your 19,
This is gonna get bad.
you do vaguely recall about 5 years ago that there was a jewel thief, maybe, in Freedom City, who had abilities that seem very similar to the ones that this young man is displaying for you.
Great.
He wasn't around for long.
Is it public knowledge that he was caught?
No, he just kind of vanished.
I thought it was.
Okay.
Not well known, and he didn't roll high enough. But hey, Brandon,
Hey, what?
guess what? This is your complication working against you.
Hey, all right.
So have a hero point,
Yay!
because you might need it. He also just made the nice young man who was moving cars and freeing people go away. So, do what you will with that information.
The heroes have first bet. Obviously, they have to get in a fight with each other.
Exactly.
Hey, young man. Young man. Come here. If you can do that, you can help get some of these people out of the trapped cars. Come here.
Peter, what do you do?
I think I'm confused enough that I'm gonna go there.
That's reasonable.
This is just a harmless old guy asking for help. This isn't, some kooky supervillain in a welding mask and hood.
Look, just because I'm low rent Doctor Doom doesn't mean you can throw me around.
Actually, it literally does.
He's great value, Dr. Doom.
We've got
Big
Doctor
Mom
Doom at
Dr.
home.
He's Aldi Doctor Doom.
The IKEA version of Doctor Doom.
I'm here from Fan Four Stick. Fight me.
Where did you send that other man? That other guy, kid? He was getting people out of cars.
Oh, he was?
He was.
Oh, I thought he was causing this. I put him over by the police. Hang on a second, and I'll create another portal underneath him again and plop him down right in front of us.
Good. I don't have to walk too far to kick your ass.
Kick his ass later. Help people now.
I don't know he's a supervillain, so I will comply with the old man's request.
Like,
How
me
come
get
everyone's
this.
just complying with the old man?
We're
I will be
heroes.
fr-
We always help the senior citizens.
In my frustration, I will try to pull one of these doors open without realizing I now have a 4 strength, which means I can lift 800 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Probably enough to pop a door off.
Yep, I was gonna say you're not quite superhuman strength, but you're very strong.
And I'm just like, what?
Whoopsie.
Okay, Kiona, you fly pretty quickly on your ice slides. So you will come in on your ice slide shortly after these three have started working together, trying to free some of the trapped individuals. You guys want to describe to me a little bit about what Keone sees as she slides in on her ice slides?
That's the sound I make.
I'm looking confused at this old guy who now I guess is holding either a car door or a handle. He's holding something in his hand. I'm just like,
He's looking confused that he's holding a car door in his hand and a walker in the other.
I'm reminded of the scene from First Avenger when when Steve rips the door off the taxi.
yes. But I'm guessing our other friend is looking confused, sitting on the ground at the boat.
Yeah, so right now it looks like you guys are all about to beat the crap out of this poor kid sitting on the ground.
I'm
Now,
gonna stand
have
up
a
and dust my
question.
pants off.
I have a question for the GM.
I have an answer.
What is the shape of the back of my clothes in?
Oh no.
Mangled but not
Torn, ripped?
mangled but not indecent.
Okay. Whew.
So there's
Comics
a
approved.
half-naked old man with a door, a kid sitting on the ground, and another guy that just brought this kid in from nowhere.
Bear in mind the kid sitting on the ground has a hoodie.
Oh
over
yeah, he
above
also looks like a Sith. Like,
Yep.
what am I'm just gonna assume that you guys all did this
By the way, the
accidentally.
three of you see what looks like a bona fide superhero flying in, or supervillain.
Frozonette?
Essentially, yes.
Yep, a woman in a blue, or dark and light blue costume with an ice motif, blue hair, coming in on a slide of ice.
Great.
Oh, maybe she can touch my shoulder, cool it down.
I kind of say under my breath, was like, Raven told me there weren't any active superheroes around here.
So I'm essentially coming in and using my powers to kind of do little snowstorms over fires and things like that to try and put them out. You know, also providing ice packs for the injured. And
Well, I
basically
will help.
angrily sliding up to these three idiots that, have no idea what they're doing.
Hey, teleport guy, did you say superhero?
Yeah, I don't know what else you'd call someone doing, well, that.
There's no superheroes in Emerald City. Don't be silly.
That's what I caught. Anyway, and I kind of shake myself off.
So
And,
he's here because he thought there were no superheroes.
Are
Great.
there? Where is the river's nearby? Right.
Yeah.
I am, because I don't necessarily have to see. I can also place by distance.
Mhm.
I'm going to try and open a portal, kind of like an inch below the river, the top of the river, to suck water in and start trying to put out some of the fires to help out, Snow Queen over here.
Okay.
Let it go.
Okay.
Let it go.
So you're gonna put. So you're okay. You're putting out. Good job. Keep doing that. You want to help me get people out of cars? And I'm looking at Ethan.
Yeah, man, sure.
I'll offer you a hand up.
I'll look at his hand suspiciously, but I did see him rip a car door off, so I'll accept it. He can't tell it's suspicious because I'm wearing a welding hood. My facial expressions are my own.
So I will work with Ethan to get some cars open, get people out. I do have treatment. I have a few ranks in treatment, so I will try to, do we move them or do we not? If I have any thought that they should be moved, I will leave them where they are.
Okay. You're definitely able to. Most people are just banged up or scared. There's a lot of, a lot of the cars were at, or at least half of them were at a stoplight when the explosion happened. So they weren't moving. They just got jostled or busted up.
Which means that people might be just not able to get their doors open because another car is behind.
Oh, yeah. You know what? When I see him starting to gather up injured people, I'm going to go look back over at the emergency vehicles, and I'm going to open a portal in front of one of the ambulances that can bring it into a clear area near the epicenter.
Sure.
So that the emergency services can drive their cars through, get people through.
Aaron is... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Aaron, as I'm helping Bulwark, I'm going to... Marshall. We're not superheroes yet. Marshall. I'm going to try to make my way over to the truck that exploded and see if I can feel anything weird in the force.
Okay. We'll get back to that. Because it feels like this would be a good time for Professor Cephalopod to fly in. Cyrus, as you're making your way in, the smoke makes it very obvious where you need to be heading at this point. And by the time you get there, there is, as I said, a woman in a two-tone blue costume with ice powers who is helping to put out fires and, provide ice packs to people who are banged up.
Star Slayer took my comment.
There's someone cosplaying as a Sith Lord, who is opening car doors and whatnot and making their way towards a crater in the road. There's another guy gesturing and creating portals that seem to be freeing people, and an older man who is next to the Sith Lord, and seems to be trying to do treatment on people and helping them out of vehicles and whatnot.
Am I close enough to recognize said old man?
Yeah, so give me a perception check. Meanwhile, heroes who are already on the site, give me a perception check as well.
For everybody who's at home who can't see the chat, Starslayer called Professor Cephalopod Mecha Cthulhu.
Mecha
Then
Cthulhu.
with dice, just went ahead and combined it. Mecha Cthulhu.
Yep. And Starslayer also pointed out that Ethan is definitely cosplaying as Darth Revan.
Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
That's the original Sith Lord. I'm here for
And with my 17, that's exactly what I do. Oh my god, it's Mecha Cthulhu.
21.
I got a 21 also.
I got a 15.
I got a 24. Right. Take that.
Suck it.
So
apparently I can't pay attention worth a damn.
Well, you're focused on the people on the ground who you're trying to help. The other three of you do see Mecha Cthulhu flying in.
What in the name of all that's unholy?
Cyrus?
Turn into
Yes.
what's his name?
Zoidberg.
Recognize the old man.
Okay.
Well, your wife knew him better than you did.
Zoidberg.
But yeah, that is Marshall Carstairs, who had done some work through a couple of shell layers. Wasn't working directly for Aegis, but was contracting for some work with them. And your wife had worked with him a couple of times, and you had encountered him at some business functions. He might or might not recognize Cyrus. He certainly isn't going to recognize you.
Yeah, nope.
I also would like you to give me, again, either expertise history or pop culture or just a straight intellect check to see if you recognize Portal.
Okie dokie. Hold on. I think it's just going to be straight intellect. So, scroll. Stop that. Okay.
Oh, I thought you said scroll for a minute.
No, I tried to scroll and it wouldn't. So, that is an 8. I don't follow those things.
You do not. You have no idea who this teleporting.
But me seeing this giant flying mechanized squid, I'm going to attempt, if possible, to catch it off guard by putting a portal right in front of it. That the other end is just going to be like 2 miles that way to buy us more time.
Everybody, Starslayer redeemed a hydrate, so if you have a drink, please take a drink or die.
Oh, mine's empty. Oh.
Is that hydrate or dihydrate?
Yes.
Hydrate or dihydrate. Hydrate comes in a little glass vial.
A little glass vial?
A little glass vial.
Oh dear.
Oh, yes, I actually got that reference.
All right, so, Professor Cephalopod, would you be so kind as to give me a dodge save?
Dodge? Sure.
Yep.
Sure. I'm sure this is fine.
Wiki, how big is your mech suit?
It's big.
Is it big enough for a 20-foot long octopus? Or are you, condensed in there?
Well, he's a little bit condensed in the tank portion, and you can see through. There's portions up toward, where the head would be, and the shoulders, where you can actually see, you see the top of the octopus, you see its mantle where the eyes are, at, the head.
That's so scary.
And you can see the tentacles and things below that in parts.
Yeah, that's definitely a bad guy.
Can you switch us to Roll20 view and give the audience a view of what Professor Cephalopod looks like?
I sure can. Give me just a second.
And that dodge was 15, by the way.
That's not great.
Nope.
Give me just a second.
Gotta zoom way in, sorry.
Hold on. I will make it easier for you to...
Oh, it's already the right size. We're good.
There he is.
Right between the old Coot and the Sith.
I'm Darth Crucible. That's my new superhero name.
Alex, zoom out. There's a better view that is currently filling the screen.
Will you make it fill the screen again? It was too big for me to zoom out.
Absolutely.
Oh, come on.
Rogue Nix, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm gonna move my Roll20 window. That'll be the key to success here. Here we go. I'm just gonna futz with it in the background. Continue.
All right. Anywho, so yes, Cyrus, as you are flying in, you're flying towards the scene of the action, and suddenly you're now over the river.
Well, I'm just gonna turn around and go back.
Guys, I don't know what that was. But we got I don't know, maybe another minute before it comes back.
Okay.
So is this a ask questions later type environment? Because y'all just seem to be doing whatever you want.
You want to ask that thing questions?
I don't ever want to see that thing again.
I mean, I came up on 3 dudes. One who is, a senior. And the other 2 are just one looks like a Sith and the other one is just like a big idiot that's throwing people around. What am I supposed to think about you 3?
I don't know what you're supposed to think about me, Ice Princess, but what's your bag? Are you a superhero?
No.
Then why are you wearing spandex?
Guys, focus.
Do you have a PR person? Who did your
Giant
logo?
We have a giant extra-dimensional space monster.
We still
That's
have
gonna
people
be
to
here.
save and help, and that thing is going to be back.
I see what you did there.
We can fight later.
I don't want to fight anybody. Except for
can
Portal
argue
Guy. I
later.
want to fight Portal Guy.
From a few blocks, from a few blocks to the north, you all hear a sudden new crash, which is unusual because at this point most of the sounds have been, burning and screaming. It sounds very much like a vehicle impacting a building.
Should have sent me to the river.
I will look at Brent. I will look at and I will say, young man, can you get us there?
Well, let's see what's going on first, and I'll throw a portal up and put the other one in a position to be able to see what happened there.
Where is it? Is it up or is it down?
It depends on how far away this problem is, at what angle I can see to put it at, because that's something I can't quite be precise enough with to get a distance.
So I will say that the noise was loud enough that from your hearing you can estimate where to have the portal put you out at and stay at ground level.
Okay, so we got a site. We can look at it at ground level before we start running, and we can see what's going on.
All right. So Peter opens up a portal. Professor Cephalopod is flying back to the action. On the other side of the portal, you see a couple of figures that seem to be causing carnage. There is a old hippie who has a light show erupting from around him. There is a goth who is floating with black, shadowy things near him. There is a woman wearing, looks like armor made from bits of metal and broken car parts and street signs, who is hovering in the air, and there is a car floating next to her.
Huh.
And there is an octopus-looking thing that is more man-shaped than the mech that flew in, that is holding three people in its tentacles as it moves through the streets of the city. And as you take in that view, why don't we go ahead and take our break here? And
Oh,
Whack.
Wow, wow.
we will pick up with you looking through the portal and all of this after the break. So let's go ahead and take 5 and refill our drinks and empty out other things, and we will see you guys back here in about 5 minutes. Thank you so much for sticking around for our first half, and we're looking forward to seeing more of you.